My marriage has completely fallen apart in the past 6 months, and I need to share my story. My wife Kimberly, 30F, and I, 32M, got married in August 2023 after dating for 3 years. We had been friends for 7 years before we started dating in 2020. Our friendship started when we met at a college alumni event through my best friend Jake. Over those 7 years, Kimberly became one of my closest friends. We shared everything with each other, from relationship problems to career struggles. She was always the person I turned to for advice, and I trusted her completely. When we finally started dating in 2020, it felt natural but also scary. We both worried about ruining our friendship if things didn't work out romantically. After many long discussions, we decided to try an open relationship for the first few months. The idea was that it would help us transition from friendship to romance without feeling too much pressure. We set clear rules: we could see other people, but we had to be completely honest about everything. No secrets, no lies, just total transparency. I remember being nervous about this arrangement at first. The thought of Kimberly being with someone else made me uncomfortable, but I agreed because I wanted to make things work with her. We promised each other that honesty would be our foundation. If either of us felt uncomfortable or wanted to change the arrangement, we would talk about it openly. For the first couple of months, things went smoothly. We were both seeing other people casually while also exploring our feelings for each other. Kimberly would tell me about her dates with women, and I would share my experiences too. There was no jealousy because we were both following our agreed upon rules. Then came that Friday night in March 2020. Kimberly texted me around 9 p.m. saying she was going to hook up with a woman she met at a bar. I appreciated her honesty and texted back saying to have fun and be safe. The next morning, she called me and told me she had a great time. We met for lunch later that day, and she seemed happy but a bit distant. When I asked if everything was okay, she assured me she was just tired. Over the next few months, our relationship grew stronger. We decided to become exclusive in June 2020, and everything felt perfect. Kimberly was everything I wanted in a partner: kind, funny, intelligent, and most importantly, honest. Or so I thought. Throughout our relationship, I occasionally had this nagging feeling about that night in March. Something felt off, but whenever I brought it up, Kimberly would dismiss my concerns. We got engaged in early 2023 after dating for almost 3 years. During our engagement, I once again asked her if there was anything from our past she wanted to talk about. I specifically mentioned that night in March 2020, saying I would understand if there was more to the story. Kimberly looked me in the eyes and swore there was nothing else to tell. We had a beautiful wedding in August 2023. Our friends and family celebrated with us, and I felt like the luckiest man alive. Kimberly and I moved into our new house, started planning our future, and talked about having kids. Everything seemed perfect until last month. It was a regular Tuesday evening. We were having dinner at home when Kimberly suddenly became very quiet. I asked her what was wrong, and she started crying. Through her tears, she confessed that she had been keeping something from me. That night in March 2020, it wasn't just her and another woman, there was also a man involved. She had a threesome but only told me about the woman because she thought I would be upset about the man's involvement. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. All those years, my instincts had been right. I had given her so many chances to tell me the truth. I asked her why she lied for so long. She said she was afraid of losing me, that she realized shortly after that night that she was falling in love with me and was terrified that knowing about the man would make me end things. The threesome itself wasn't the issue. We were in an open relationship at the time, and if she had been honest from the start, I would have accepted it. What destroyed me was the years of lying. She had countless opportunities to tell me the truth but chose to keep lying. She lied during our dating period, through our engagement, and even after we got married. Now I find myself questioning everything about our relationship. If she could lie about this for so long, what else has she lied about? Every time she goes out with friends, I wonder if she's telling me the whole truth. Even simple things like where she's going for lunch make me suspicious. The trust we built over 10 years of friendship and relationship has been completely shattered. Kimberly keeps trying to minimize what she did. She says it was just one detail she left out, not a complete lie. She argues that she's been faithful since we became exclusive and that this shouldn't erase all the good years we've had together. But how can I believe anything she says now? How do I know she's telling the truth about being faithful? Last night, Kimberly suggested we try couples counseling. She says she wants to rebuild our trust and save our marriage. But I'm not even sure I want to try. The person I thought I married, my best friend, my confidant, the one person I trusted completely, turned out to be capable of lying to my face for years. I love Kimberly, but I don't know if love is enough anymore. The foundation of our relationship was built on a lie, and I don't know if it can be repaired. Has anyone else experienced something similar? How do you move forward when you discover your spouse has been lying to you for years? Is it possible to rebuild trust after such a long-term deception? Update 1. First, I want to thank everyone who responded to my original post. Your comments helped me gain perspective and gave me the courage to confront Kimberly about everything. Unfortunately, what I discovered made things infinitely worse than I imagined. After reading everyone's advice, I decided to have a serious conversation with Kimberly. I told her that if there was any chance of saving our marriage, I needed complete honesty about everything. No more secrets, no more lies. I wanted to know every detail about that night and anything else she might have been hiding from me. Kimberly agreed, though I noticed she seemed nervous about my request. We sat down in our living room last Sunday evening. I asked her to tell me everything about the threesome, who was involved, how it happened, and why she chose to lie about it. At first, she tried to avoid giving specific details, saying it was all in the past and that bringing it up would only hurt me more. This immediately raised red flags. If she was truly committed to being honest, why was she still trying to hide information? After I pressed her for answers, Kimberly broke down crying. What she revealed next completely destroyed me. The man involved in the threesome wasn't some random guy from the bar, it was Jake, my best friend from college. The same Jake who had introduced me to Kimberly 7 years ago. The same Jake who had been like a brother to me throughout college and after graduation. Suddenly, everything made sense. Jake had mysteriously cut off all contact with me in early 2020, right around the time Kimberly and I started dating. He blocked me on all social media, stopped responding to my texts, and even changed his phone number. At the time, I was devastated by the loss of our friendship. I couldn't understand what I had done wrong. Kimberly had been there to comfort me during that time. She watched me cry over losing my best friend. She listened to me question what I might have done to make Jake hate me so much. She even suggested that Jake might be going through personal issues and needed space. All while knowing exactly why he had disappeared from my life. The betrayal felt like a physical pain in my chest. I asked Kimberly why she chose Jake of all people. She admitted that she had always been attracted to him during our friendship years. She said when we agreed to an open relationship, she saw it as an opportunity to act on her attraction without consequences. According to her, she and Jake had been flirting for weeks before that night. Kimberly swears it was just physical and only happened that one time. She claims they both felt so guilty afterward that Jake decided to cut contact with me, and she agreed to never tell me the truth. They thought it would be easier that way, they could protect themselves while letting me believe Jake had his own reasons for ending our friendship. I spent years wondering what went wrong with Jake. There were times I drafted messages to him, trying to apologize for whatever I might have done to ruin our friendship. Kimberly knew about these attempts. She watched me struggle with this loss while holding on to her secret. She had countless opportunities to tell me the truth but chose to keep lying. What makes it even worse is that Jake was supposed to be my best man at our wedding. When he cut contact, I had to ask my brother to step in instead. Kimberly stood next to me at the altar, knowing she was the reason my best friend wasn't there. She watched me scan the crowd during our ceremony, probably hoping Jake would show up, all while knowing he would never come. I couldn't stay in the house after this revelation. I packed some clothes and went to stay with my brother. Kimberly has been calling and texting constantly, begging me to come home. She keeps saying we can work through this, that she'll do anything to fix our marriage. She even offered to join a support group for compulsive liars if that would help me trust her again. My brother thinks I should divorce her. He says he never trusted Kimberly completely, though he kept his doubts to himself because I seemed happy. He believes that someone capable of maintaining such a huge lie for years, especially one involving my best friend, will never be truly honest with me. Kimberly's friends have been reaching out too, trying to convince me to give her another chance. They say she genuinely loves me and that this mistake from years ago shouldn't erase our entire relationship. But they don't understand. This wasn't just a mistake, it was a calculated deception that involved my best friend and lasted for years. I'm supposed to meet Kimberly tomorrow at a coffee shop to discuss our future. I'm torn between wanting to hear her out and being afraid of what other lies might come to light. How do you even begin to trust someone again after discovering they're capable of such deep betrayal? Has anyone dealt with their spouse and best friend betraying them like this? How did you handle it? Did you try to save the marriage, or did you walk away? Any advice would be appreciated because right now, I feel completely lost. Update 2: The meeting with Kimberly at the coffee shop turned everything I thought I knew about our relationship upside down. I arrived early, choosing a quiet corner table where we could talk privately. Kimberly walked in looking nervous, and before I could even start the conversation, she said there was more I needed to know. I braced myself, thinking nothing could be worse than what I already knew. I was wrong. Kimberly started talking, and each revelation felt like another knife in my chest. The threesome with Jake wasn't a one-time thing as she had claimed. They had continued seeing each other secretly throughout the first 6 months of our relationship. Kimberly tried to defend herself, saying it all ended when we decided to become exclusive in June 2020. But even this was a lie. After our conversation, I went home and found her old laptop. There were messages between her and Jake from well into our first year together. They had been meeting at hotels, coordinating their schedules around my work trips, and laughing about how oblivious I was. The messages were painful to read. They had inside jokes about deceiving me. Jake would text her things like remember that time he almost caught us and they would laugh about it. They even met up the day before I was planning to propose to Kimberly. She had told me she was helping her sister shop for a wedding dress, but the messages showed she was with Jake at a hotel. But that wasn't even the worst part. Kimberly confessed that Jake wasn't the only person she had lied about. During our open relationship period, she had been with 5 other men, not just the women she had told me about. Each time, she would only mention the female partner and conveniently leave out the male ones. She had crafted this elaborate lie about only being interested in women during our open relationship to make me feel more secure. I sat there in the coffee shop, feeling completely numb as Kimberly continued her confessions. She showed me recent messages between her and Jake. She claimed she had reached out to him to apologize for how they had treated me, but the messages told a different story. They had been planning to meet up again, discussing how much they missed each other. Kimberly kept trying to explain, saying she was addicted to the thrill of sneaking around. She admitted that part of her enjoyed deceiving me, that it made her feel powerful to maintain this secret life while building a future with me. Hearing her say this made me physically sick. I got up and left without saying another word. She followed me to the parking lot, crying and begging me to listen to her explanations. She kept saying she was a different person now, that she truly loved me and wanted to save our marriage. All I could think about were the years of lies, the calculated deception, and how she had manipulated me into believing she was someone completely different. I drove straight to my lawyer's office. I had already consulted with them after discovering the initial lie, but now I was ready to start divorce proceedings. My lawyer advised me to save all the messages and evidence I had found. He said Kimberly's pattern of deception and infidelity would be important during the divorce process. Since then, Kimberly has been telling anyone who will listen that I'm overreacting. She's spinning this narrative that she was young and made mistakes, but came clean because she loves me and wants to be honest now. She's leaving out all the other lies, the continued cheating, and the fact that she only confessed because she feared someone else might tell me first. Some of our friends have taken her side, saying I'm throwing away a good marriage over past mistakes. They don't know about the recent messages with Jake or the extent of her deception. I've chosen not to share all the details because it's not about winning people to my side. I know the truth, and that's enough for me. I realize now that the person I married never existed. She was a carefully crafted fiction, designed to be exactly who she thought I wanted. The real Kimberly is someone who could lie to my face for years, betray me with my best friend, and only feel bad about it when she got caught. I know now that I can never trust her again. The divorce papers have been filed, and I'm moving forward with my life. It's painful, but it's better than living with someone who saw our entire relationship as a game she could manipulate for her own entertainment. Update 3: The past 3 months have been a roller coaster. The divorce proceedings are underway, but Kimberly has been making everything as difficult as possible. After I filed for divorce, she launched a full campaign to either stop me or destroy my reputation in the process. First, she sent her parents to my brother's house. They showed up unannounced one Sunday morning, saying they needed to talk. They spent 2 hours telling me I was making a huge mistake. Kimberly's mother cried about how her daughter had made one mistake years ago and was being punished too harshly for it. Her father tried to appeal to my logical side, talking about the financial and emotional costs of divorce. They conveniently ignored all the recent revelations about Kimberly's continued relationship with Jake. When that didn't work, Kimberly changed tactics. She started telling our friends and family a completely different version of events. According to her, I had known about Jake all along and had even encouraged their relationship. She claimed I was using the threesome as an excuse to leave her because I had found someone else. This was completely false, but some people actually believed her. The most shocking discovery came last week. I found evidence that Kimberly had been meeting Jake throughout our entire marriage. There were hotel receipts and messages proving they had met at least twice during our engagement, including once just 2 weeks before our wedding. When confronted, Kimberly still tried to deny it, but the evidence was clear. The final blow came when I discovered Jake had gotten married last year. His wife had no idea about his relationship with Kimberly. I struggled with whether to tell her but ultimately decided she deserved to know. I anonymously sent her copies of the messages and receipts I had found. She contacted me afterward, devastated but grateful for the information. She told me she had suspected something was going on but Jake had always made her feel crazy for doubting him. She's now filing for divorce as well. Kimberly finally stopped trying to contact me after my lawyer threatened legal action for harassment. She had been showing up at my workplace and sending endless messages through mutual friends. The divorce should be finalized in a few months, and I can't wait to put this whole nightmare behind me. My brother has been my rock through all of this. He helped me move into a new apartment and has been checking on me regularly. Most of our mutual friends have chosen sides, some believe Kimberly's lies, while others have stood by me. I've learned who my real friends are through this process. Looking back, I can see all the red flags I missed. The unexplained absences during our dating years, the suspicious business trips that never quite added up, the way she would get defensive whenever I asked about certain things. I was so in love with the person I thought she was that I ignored all the signs of who she really was. I'm focusing on healing now. I've blocked both Kimberly and Jake on everything. I've started going to the gym regularly and picked up some new hobbies. Some days are still hard, especially when I remember specific moments from our relationship and realize they were probably all lies. But I know I made the right decision in ending the marriage. Some betrayals are too deep to forgive, and some trust can never be rebuilt. To everyone who supported me through this journey, thank you. Your advice and support helped me stay strong when I was tempted to give in to Kimberly's manipulations. I'm looking forward to closing this chapter of my life and starting fresh, this time with people who understand the value of honesty and loyalty.